Lovely. There we go. Yes. Hello and welcome to this week's Natural Gardening Live with me, Josie Rainbird, your natural gardening coach. And today we are talking about, let me just have a look. There we go. Today we're talking about, so in this week's Natural Gardening Live, we're talking about the plants you need or should at the very least, seriously consider planting in your garden this year in 2023. So these are plants that will support you, which is amazing, which we want. Support the rest of your garden, kind of the point, to reduce the cost of garden care, manage the overall health of your garden, try and make things a little bit easier for you. So let me know. Make sure my microphone's all plugged in and happy. Let me know if you can hear me and you can see me okay. And we will crack on. So let me hide that so you can see me. Hope everybody is enjoying this lovely winter's day that we've got going on today. She's been quite sunny, so I can't say a lot, but it's been quite chilly. A bit brisk, windy this way. So yes, hopefully you've had a lovely day where you are. So let me know as we go through. Let me know if you've any of these plants you've got growing in your garden you've considered you've got seeds for instance, you're growing this year. Let me know in the comments as we go through. As you hear the plants, comment the yes or a no or whatever you want to do, thumbs up, if you are planting any of these plants this year or they already grow in your garden. Just out of curiosity and yeah, to see. So plants that can support you, support your garden. Just reading my notes. Okay, so creating a habitat to support the wildlife that lives in your garden that can support your garden. So this is a trend that's coming through into 2023. Now it kind of got legs, I think, last year before, but it's really taken hold this year. Everybody's more conscious of it, of taking care of the gardens, of the habitats, of wildlife, nature. So it's really getting legs this year. And so it's really good. So it's carrying on through into 2023, the year following. Hopefully it will become more than a trend, and it'll become like a way of life, if you like, for us. So yes, this can be seen as wildflower gardening. How many pages this bit? This my screen went to sleep. This can be seen as wildflower gardening, sowing like a meadow patch or anything like that. Or simply just including companion plants in and around your garden or your veg patch, wherever you want. So these all play a role to support the wildlife living in your garden, in and around your garden, not just in your garden, which is amazing, in and around your garden, and the overall health of your garden, the plants growing in your garden as well. So it's very important. And today I am concentrating, or for this part of the live today, I'm talking about the companion planting side. So I have some plants in a minute for you, which I'll go through in a minute, that are very good, strong, and very easy to grow companion plants that will really help to support your garden. So, cracking on, where have I got to? So, companion planting can be a very strong form of support for your garden, as I say. Managing the health of your plants by attracting in the beneficial insects, which we love, such as pollinators, the predators to the pests. Predators that help manage the ever increasing number of pests that want to eat your plants, which is really important, really like life-changingly important sometimes. So these predators are good. So the companion plants that will attract those in, we need those in our garden. They could also provide physical support as well. So you can get things like plants that provide shade for the rest of your plants in your garden, structure for them as well, so the climbers can climb them, that side of things as well. So they can also provide physical support as well as beneficial insects, attracting beneficial insects, pollinators, things like that, and feeding your garden. So companion planting, for all the varieties, different plants that are in the companion planting group, if you like, very good. So as I say, the physical cover, when the plants you choose for companion planting, when they create shade for your plants in the summer, if it's like the summer we've just had, is very important because it can cut you a lot of slack when it comes to managing your garden and reduce the amount of stress and heat stress, if you like, your plant suffers. So that's really nice as well. Completely off subject, but it's a very good idea for when you're companion planting to think about things like that. Does your garden need a bit more shade? So, have a minute. feel free to comment as you go through. If you've got any questions as we go, I will keep an eye on the comments tab, so I can actually I'll put that up now so I can see it as I go. If anything pops up, I can see it. So I'll keep an eye as I go, and I can answer questions as I go. If you're watching this after the live, if you're watching this on replay, give me a hashtag replay, and I will answer the questions as I see them come up. So they're automatically being notified, so I'll see them. So that's fine. So yeah, feel free to comment at any stage. I am here. So here are some easy to grow and maintain companion plants to include in your garden this year, 2023. And they can provide a lot of extra support. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. They can provide a lot of extra support for your garden beyond the point of just companion planting. So we have got, find my list, marigolds. So French marigolds, pot marigolds, English marigolds, whatever you want to do. Marigolds. Borage. One of my favourites. I love borage in the garden, and it does spread like wildfire. Nasturtiums and herbs such as mint. Again, spreads like wildfire. Be careful. Mint, sage, basil, and thyme. So that's the first lot. There is another section as well in a minute, so we'll wait. So marigolds, borage, nasturtiums, and herbs such as mint, sage, basil, and thyme. So these are all quite easy to grow. I say quite easy, it's a very loose term, incredibly easy to grow. They will grow you without even trying. You can look at them and they'll grow. These are quite easy to grow and propagate, and they will get into, in a minute, halfway down in a minute, I will talk to you about how they actually support your garden as well. So marigolds are great little self-seeding. In fact, they're all really very good little self-seeding wonders. The bees love them. Marigolds I've got them kind of all over the garden. because they self-seed everywhere. And the bees love them. They absolutely love them. Hoverflies love them. Butterflies love them. So they're really good at attracting in the beneficial insects. They work wonders. So these plants can be invasive, as I just said. So they can be invasive. So it's worth, if you're just looking to introduce them, or they've been growing in your garden, whatever, and you're looking to manage them, shall we say, it's a good idea to grow them in pots. Keep them under control, grow them in pots if you can, especially mint. Sage and, as I said, basil, where it's a bit more of an annual, not so much of an issue. But mint definitely, and marigolds definitely, 100%. Grow them in pots if you can, because otherwise they will take over your garden. Not always a bad thing if you've got a big enough garden, but if you're limited on space, it can be a bit difficult. So grow in pots if you can. Then you can move them around your garden as well to where the support is needed, and you don't have to have them growing in one place, or they will pop up everywhere. So just saying. So marigolds, borage, and nasturtiums are extremely attractive with pollinators. Like I said, with the marigolds, bees, butterflies, all sorts of things love them. Attractive to pollinators, and can increase the pollination rate of your plants growing around them. I can't talk today. If you plant them in your veg patch, which is what they tend to be growing a lot in my veg patch, whether I've planted them there or not, that's where they tend to grow. So they do grow a lot in my veg patch. But if you plant them in your veg patch or in your in with your tomatoes and peppers in your greenhouse, they can tolerate quite decent heat as well. So it's not so bad. They will, especially French marigolds, they will grow quite happily in a greenhouse. In your greenhouse, you are nearly guaranteed to improve the pollination rate, if you like, for the plants in your greenhouse or plants around them in general, if they're outside or inside. So that will guarantee that you get a heftier crop of vegetables as well. Say tomatoes. I grow French marigolds. I can't remember the type, but French marigolds, generic French marigolds, in my greenhouse with my tomatoes and peppers. And they always do a really good job of attracting in the hoverflies, bees, and all sorts of things. So the pollination, once they've pollinated the marigolds, they then move to the peppers and then to the tomatoes. So they move around the greenhouse. They don't just stop at the marigold and then leave. They'll pollinate everything in the greenhouse, or as much as they possibly can. I've also got an osteospermum growing in my propagator at the moment, which has been sat in there for about a year, and it's rooted in there quite nicely. So that's not leaving, but that's quite happy in there as well, and that attracts a lot of bees. Not technically speaking a traditional companion plant, but it works for me. So yes, marigolds work very well for this in any shape or form. But to be fair, borage is a very good one for bees as well. Nasturtiums, which I'll talk about in a second, if I can find it. I tend to grow in hanging baskets as well. I did have some self-seeded on the ground in my courgette patch last year. They grew very well in there, quite happily. I think just seeds fell on the ground and that's what happened. They just grew there. So it's quite fine. But I grow them in hanging baskets and they do a nice little trail down. But the bees love them because they're all bright orange flowers. So, marigolds. I've lost where I am now. So we're talking about marigolds. Okay, marigolds can have also, besides the pollinators, they can also repel insects from your plants. Whitefly hate them, which is amazing. So if you've got an issue with whitefly in your garden, marigolds are the key in any way, shape, or form. Whitefly hate them, so they will strongly repel. If you ever crunched a marigold leaf or brushed past that bigger plant of a marigold plant, like when they get quite mature, they've got a sort of a, I want to say, a citrusy kind of smell to them. This is kind of the oils in the marigold will actually is what repels the insects. So whitefly don't like them. So it's a really good repellent for whitefly. Nasturtiums can lure aphids to them like a sacrificial plant. I don't know if you've heard me say about before, but I also use sunflowers in the garden as a sacrificial plant because they're so strong and sturdy. Nasturtiums aren't as strong, I will say, but they do an incredibly good job of attracting in the aphids. So they attract the aphids to the plant, and then the natural predators like ladybirds, well, we've got lacewings and things like that, the larvae, they will then go straight to the source, if you like, straight to the nasturtiums to feed. They won't have to search the garden for the plants with the aphids on. They will know where they are. They'll go straight to them. It's like a buffet for them, if you like. So then you're keeping the aphids away from the rest of your garden. The nasturtiums will keep growing because they're like that. They will keep seeding and they will keep growing, but the aphids will feed on the nasturtiums, and then the predators will feed on the aphids. So they're really good sacrificial plants like that. So, borage, hang on. Any comments? Comment? Oh, no comments have disappeared. No comments. Okay, so borage, as I say, as well as being a fantastic attractor for bees and other pollinators, borage can also feed your garden and the plants growing around them. Borage is a dynamic accumulator. Now, if you haven't, I've done a live many moons ago on dynamic accumulators. I did when we had the membership as well. I did training on it in there. I have had posts, I think, on borage, which I will link in the week on the Facebook group, so you can check that out, about being a dynamic accumulator. So the way borage works is a dynamic accumulator. The taproot goes down into the deep subsoil. It will then get the nutrients. The root will then collect the nutrients on the subsoil, which isn't readily available, if you like, in the topsoil or the layer between the subsoil and the topsoil, the midsoil, shall we say? I can't think of the word. So the nutrients that aren't readily available to average plant roots that don't grow that deep, the taproot from the borage will grow down and collect this nutrients and then release it as it grows up. So it'll be available to the plants with more shallow roots, if you like. So dynamic accumulators are incredibly important to have in your garden. And actually, you probably have more growing in your garden than you think. When I look, if you're joining me from the Facebook group, can't see anybody in the Facebook group, that's fine. But if you're joining me from the Facebook group, there are posts available in the guide section about dynamic accumulators. So all the different plants that come under the category of dynamic accumulator. So they collect and store nutrients in their roots or leaves or stems, and we can then access those to make feeds, green mulches. They will naturally release the feed back out into the soil themselves, but they're really important plants to have in your garden. So look out for those posts. They're somewhere in there. I'll find them and try and relink them. If you're watching on YouTube, the link to the group is always in the description. So feel free to come and join us. There's lots of goodies in the group, lots of more information and things to download. It's fab. But yes, and again, if you're watching on the group, you can go over to YouTube, catch up on any videos. So, borage, yes, a dynamic accumulator. So you can also use borage as a nice green mulch. So if you cut it back or leave it to die off naturally, it will then naturally redistribute the nutrients that it gathers in the root. So we can do that as well. So, such an easy plant to grow and such a really effective way of looking after your garden. Okay, so for the bigger picture, the colour is what attracts the pollinators into your garden. So we're saying about the marigolds and the borage. Marigolds attract them because of the bright open flower shape and the bright colours. So the colour is what attracts in pollinators. The flower shape does help because different pollinators are attracted to different flower shapes. Bumblebees are more attracted to flat open flowers, whereas honeybees or hoverflies are more like trumpet flowers or tubular flowers, if you like. So flower shape does matter as well. So colour and flower shape are really important factors when you're coming to the plants that you're including in your garden. So variety is important. So including a lot of different colours and flower types in your plants, you're bringing in a variety of different pollinators and beneficial insects. This is important. So beyond the point of what flowers to grow, look for the characteristics, if you like, of the flowers as well. How bright are the colours? How what flower shapes are they? So it's worth looking for. So these will help to support your garden. So if you have a variety of different things growing, you're not just growing a whole garden of daisies, because that will only support one type of pollinator or attracting one type of beneficial insect. So you want to mix it up a bit if you can. Most gardens do, but it's worth saying. So I've lost where I am now, bear with me. So along with bright colours and flower shapes, obviously, bright colours and flower shapes, growing herbs such as mint, sage, basil and thyme, as we said just now, in and around the garden and the veg patch can actually create a scent barrier as well for your plants. I have a croak starting. For example, sage, when it's planted with cabbages, broccoli, kind of all the members of the brassica family, it can repel a lot of pests, including the flea beetle. Now, if you have any experience growing brassicas of any kind, you'll know, including wallflowers, I will add, you will know that flea beetles can be a right pain, to say the least. They cause a lot of problems. So having this ability to repel them and protect your crop is amazing. I think farms that have this issue, when they grow a lot of brassica plants and then types of different brassicas, even if they're growing them for feed, if you like, for the cattle feed or sheep feed or whatever, they should plant like a border of sage in their gardens, in their fields, to try and protect them from the flea beetle. They would just like change the world, I tell you. So sage, yes, very effective at repelling the flea beetle and protecting your brassicas. So a lot of insects are repelled by strong scents. I've lost myself. Repelled by strong scents and can also hide other plants from the pests that are looking to eat them. So acting like a camouflage, if you like. A lot of insects, by using colours, I've lost where I am now, using colours to attract in beneficial insects and scent to repel and hide your plants as well, it makes for a very comprehensive support system as well, reducing an awful lot of stress and work in your garden as well. So excuse my croaking. I can hear I'm croaking, so I hope I don't hear like I'm croaking to you. Oh dear. Right, so that was the companion planting side of the plants, but I've also got, because I threw this one for good measure, I was just going to go through the companion planting today, but this one actually seems stronger because there's been reports that this summer in 23, is actually looking to be as hot, if not hotter, than last summer. Now, if it's anything like it was here, it was a scorcher. It was incredibly hot and everything got incredibly burnt and like dry. So it wasn't great. But I like sun, I like heat. It's fine, but I burn as soon as I look at the sun. So it wasn't incredibly fun, but yeah, 2023 is looking to be as hot, if not hotter than last year. So it's something to look out for. It's a good idea to start to look at planting or changing your garden up to go with the climate change. So drought-resistant planting, this is where I'm going with this. Drought-resistant planting such as lavender, rosemary, echinacea is really good. Salvias, general members of the salvia family, ascosias, so like California poppies, and a few for the bees and the butterflies, yarrow or verbena, the Benariensis. They are all really effective and very easy to grow, should I say, easy to grow and effective drought-resistant plants that you can grow in your garden that will support your garden even when we have as hot a summer as we did last year. So, just to name a few, there are plenty of, oh hello, my computer's gone to sleep. There are plenty of, I'm surprised when it goes to sleep it doesn't actually show because it creates a lot of light, the screen. So you'd think it would make a difference, but it doesn't. It doesn't on my screen anyway, that I can see. So yes, so these are just a few drought-resistant plants. There are plenty of them out there, but just a few drought-resistant plants. So incredibly easy to grow. Will grow just by looking at them. Very easy to grow. Self-seed themselves silly, and can tolerate the drought. So let me know in the comments if you have any of those growing in your garden. I have quite a few of those kind of in my garden. So these will, one, tolerate the drought, so they will thrive rather than look scorched and burnt and need a lot of love and attention. They will reduce the need to water your garden all the time. They will thrive and make your garden look beautiful when the rest of the garden's suffering, which is amazing because last year, besides the lawn was like brown most of the time, watering was just dreadful. This will lift the colour and the look of your garden whilst reducing the need to care and maintain your garden all the time. So these plants are naturally more resilient and will recover from sun damage and pest damage faster, which is amazing. They can also be more resilient to fungal issues, so meaning they will need to be treated and fed much less frequently, and can basically put up with a lot more stress and challenge. Now, water. If it's taken from water, if taken from the mains, it's quite a valuable commodity at the moment anyway. And I can't see it going down in price. So definitely a valuable commodity. And it'll cost a lot of money to water your garden with a hose pipe. So the extra cost, so if you're anything like me, the extra cost that comes from watering your garden with a hose pipe, it's really quite difficult. Can't talk today. Quite difficult to justify. So I've got all of our water butts and we've got bins as well, which haven't got taps attached, and a barrel now, which hasn't got a tap attached yet, but it will have soon. So we do try and store and save a lot of rainwater. So if you use the house guttering or shed guttering, anything like that to save water, or you've got a natural water source in your garden, this can really help to make it more sort of easier to bear, if you like, more viable. Try not to cough down the microphone, sorry. That was caught me unaware, that cough. So, can make it a lot more easier to bear. So even in the cooler part of the summer last year, we used the 3 water butts that we've got. We have currently the 2 bins. I'm trying to think. Our stream went down to such a minuscule flow we couldn't draw anything from it, so it's pointless. And that was all by August. Now, if you remember, summer went on till nearly October last year. So whether we're going to do the same this year. So we had a few months of having to water with a hose pipe, and also then had a hose pipe ban as well, which didn't help. So that was incredibly stressful for everybody. The garden did not like it at all. So by incorporating drought-resistant plants into your garden, you're going to be removing this kind of stress and panic and damage to your garden, if you like, because these plants are going to be set up for it, will tolerate it, and will be quite happy growing in a slightly less damp environment, drier ground, better drainage, that kind of thing. So they'll be quite happy. So if you incorporate plants like this in the dry conditions, your garden will be much happier. Okay, so let me see what we are doing here. There we go. So with these plants I've named for you today, not by any stretch of the imagination a complete list or comprehensive list, but they might give you a good place to start as well. They're all incredibly easy to grow. You can buy the seeds very cheaply. You can save the seeds as well year after year. If you're not careful, they'll seed for you. So that's fine. And especially like with mint marigolds and things like that, they will spread without you even realizing it. So one year to the next, you'll be like seeing them pop up everywhere. So leave them to it. They'll be fine. They don't need your help at all. So hopefully these plants, if you start to grow even a few of them in your garden, they'll start to help you develop a natural support system to support your garden as you head into 2023. And when we get the heat of the summer that's coming, I hope it's not going to be as hot. Be suffering that. Oh no. Yes, so hopefully if you include a few more drought resistant plants, it's going to cut you a bit of slack in the summer as well. So on that note, I'm going to call it a day. Thank you for joining me today, and I do hope you've learned something or taken something away from today. If you are watching on YouTube, please hit the like or Facebook, whichever. Please hit the like button. Show me your support for us. Absolutely fantastic. I like to see the likes because at least I know that I'm saying the good things. So hit the like button, smash that for me. Fantastic. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to see my lives each week or see more videos for myself and to show support for the channel, please subscribe and you'll be notified when I'm live each week. So that's perfect. I always appreciate that as well, but the likes are appreciated as well. So I will link any resources that I have mentioned or I think will be relevant to today's live in the description and in the group as well. So you can check those out. Feel free to comment after this live, or if you want to do it now, absolutely fine. Feel free to comment as you go. I'll see them and I'll answer them as I see them. Fantastic. So on that note, nothing to reply to in the comments. There's a couple of comments, but nothing to reply to. Perfect. I will leave it there and I will see you all next week. Have an amazing week. And yes, so yeah, we'll see you next week. Look out for my thumbnail on Sunday. See you later. Bye-bye.